Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today let's talk about Iron Man, because he's dead. I've been falling in love with the Disney Plus shows. WandaVision was really good, and then I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier kicked it up a notch in terms of my personal enjoyment. And I've just realized since then that Iron Man's gone. Tony's gone. Or is he? Because I personally enjoyed his send-off. I think his character had a start and finish, and he completed his goal in life. And he died. That's great. And it was a sacrifice, and everyone loves that. So if I see a artificial intelligence or even a Jarvis-like Tony Stark in the future, I'm gonna be mad. But we probably will see that because of Riri Williams' Ironheart. So yeah. But this is also a Nendoroid review, and today we're taking a look at not just the Nendoroid Mark 85, but all of the Good Smile Company Nendoroid Ironmans that were ever released, because I'm the proud owner of every single Nendoroid Ironman. I don't know how to feel about that. Still though, making this video and writing this script, because I did write a script for this one, has been insightful because, well, starting with the first Iron Man Nendoroid ever released, and this is Nendoroid Iron Man 284, released all the way back in 2013. And there is something so nostalgic about this figure. It has to be one of my favorite figures ever. Starting off, and the box design is outrageous. A holographic box with crazy weird details all around is just so perfect for the time period. This was before Nendoroid was everywhere. They were only at 284 figures. It's kinda cute. Yes, this figure is from the first Avengers movie, and the Mark 7 has to be in my top 3 favorite suits. It felt like the perfect blend of man and machine. This Nendoroid just has so much flair to it, and it looks like no other Iron Man Nendoroid after it. It comes with an optional New York skyline base, as well as a tiny Stark Tower for Iron Man to fly by. The care put into this just actually brings me back to this time period. Also, the ingenious design of using a magnet to flip up Iron Man's helmet, wonderful. This Nendoroid may be a little outdated in quality. I think it still holds up in terms of the amount of accessories and the effort put into making him feel one of a kind. And this was the only Iron Man Nendoroid for a while. I remember seeing people put other Nendoroid's faceplates in the Iron Man costume, and that was sort of the whole gimmick of having him. You can put Hatsune Miku or someone like that in the Iron Man costume, and that was the fun of it. And jumping from the Mark 7 all the way to Mark 42, this is Iron Man from his appearance in Iron Man 3. And this may be the best Nendoroid Iron Man ever made. Continuing with the awesome box designs, and this one uses a giant Iron Man head on the front, and it sure as hell is eye-catching. It's also holographic and opens up to reveal even more holographic art. The figure itself looks absolutely gorgeous, and from Nendoroid 284 to Nendoroid 349, you can see how much better their sculpting got. The Diet Coke all-gold look has got to be one of Tony's most beautiful designs. And again, this Nendoroid has one of the best bases I have ever seen. The Hall of Armor suit-up base is perfect and really grounds this little guy in his own world. The paint apps again are wonderful all around. And a Tony head is included once again, but this time he has his own hair sculpt, so you can show him just working on the suits as well. Not to mention the bent leg piece to get the classic hero pose, as well as many hands. This Iron Man is one of the best. And it really did feel like such an improvement over the last one. The first one's still really good, but it felt like Good Smile Company came a long way, and it's no wonder that people continued to collect Nendoroid Iron Mans. It sort of became an exciting thing. And moving on, we're going from Nendoroid 349 all the way to 543. Nendoroid Iron Man Mark 43 was released all the way back in 2015 for his appearance in Age of Ultron. And again, to continue the amazing box design, the cover of this one feels a bit more premium. They have all felt premium, but the darker colors here sort of give off the vibe that this is a experience. Again, the flap opens up to show off some beautiful concept art from the movies as well as the figure itself. And this figure has a beautiful sculpt, but the paint apps don't feel as shiny or metallic. It could just be me, maybe it's just how the suit actually looked, but it feels a bit more matte. Still, there's a kind of presence to this one, and it really feels like Tony's designs are getting better and better. The base again is a piece of art in itself. These little Ultrons are piling up on top of each other, and it's supposed to be scary, but in Nendoroid style, it's just adorable. The accessories at this point are standard for Iron Man figures: blast effects, a lot of hands, and a Tony head with hair included. That doesn't mean it's bad, it's just what people were expecting. A very solid release, but not one of my favorites. I don't really love the suit design that much, but I do think the figure itself looks really nice, and the presence it has is just as powerful. And while it's not one of my personal favorites, I can see how it's another milestone for Tony Stark's journey through the MCU. And if you like this suit, you'd be happy getting this, and there's not much more to say about that. Now, on the complete opposite side of things, we move from Nendoroid 543 to 545, and the Mark 45 Iron Man suit is one of my favorites. I don't know why. Sticking to the formula, and at this point, it was expected that Iron Man Nendoroids would be a special little thing. Now, I don't think the box design is as good as the others. Iron Man gets sort of lost in the design a bit, but I still appreciate the opening flap gimmicks as well as the concept art on the inside. And again, the sculpting on this looks beautiful, but I do really feel like the paint is nowhere near shiny anymore. It just doesn't feel like metal, and it's a bit faded even. I haven't had this in the sunlight at all, and I bought it unopened a while ago, so I don't know why that is. Still, the sort of organic geometry of this design is why it's one of my favorites, and for some reason I just feel like Tony looks better in this one. The optional base is also special to the movie as well, but it still looks great for Iron Man to be posed next to, and it could be used with Captain America as well, which was a really cool little tie-in. Overall, this figure is solid again, but I only like it more than the last one because I like this suit more. If it wasn't for that, I would say Mark 43 and Mark 45 are almost exactly the same. And I think combined, these figures are pretty good. But if you don't love Iron Man, I don't see why you'd get both of them. Anyway, jumping from Mark 45 all the way to Mark 50, and there was a pretty sizable time gap in between that. Because the Mark 50 was released in 2019 for the Infinity War release. Because we also jump from the second Avengers film to the beginning of the third and final act. Iron Man Mark 50 was released in 2019, and this is the DX version. And DX is a complicated subject. Because before the DX, Marvel and superhero Nendoroids just sort of came with what they come with, and now you have to pay that little bit extra to get pretty much all the parts that you would need. And I have to admit, it was in this time span that Nendoroid got a little preoccupied with quantity over quality, which is why the DX versions were even started. In order to get the accessories you would normally get, they hid them under the DX title. And the boxes got smaller, which I'm not personally mad at. It helps for storage purposes, and it's also better for the environment, but this box feels a bit boring compared to the others. Sure, it's in the Infinity War style, but I miss the cover art and concept art look. The figure itself has to be one of the weirdest looking designs, and that's because of the nanotech suit Tony created. So, this Iron Man looks a bit more alien than his previous ones. And I don't hate it, but I do kind of miss the clunky nature of his older suits. The paint application is clean, and the paint itself isn't too bad. Still not as shiny or metallic as I would like, but it's pretty good. The accessories are wonderful if you get the DX version because Tony uses a whole arsenal of weapons in this film. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the only Nendoroids that I think deserves a DX just because of all the weapons he uses in that movie. Yet, this time you don't get Iron Man hair, so you would have to have one from one of the older versions. It's a bummer, and it sort of feels incomplete. And this figure isn't bad, but I don't think it's as great as the previous ones. It doesn't continue that legacy. I think in terms of having an optional base, maybe the spaceship that he's on or Thanos' planet would have been pretty cool, but I do like all of the weapons he comes with in the DX version. It's actually very versatile and pretty cute. And finally, the farewell to Tony's journey jumps from Mark 50 all the way to Iron Man suit Mark 85. Released in 2020, this is probably the last Tony Stark Iron Man Nendoroid we will ever get, which feels weird to say, honestly. And sure, maybe it's a bit sad, but Tony has had a good life, and I would be disappointed if he was forced to come back to the fight. I mean, in another 10 years, if the MCU is still around, I think it would be pretty cool, but I hope he gets to rest until then. Anyway, the box is standard to the other Endgame releases, which is okay, and this is the DX version, which sadly doesn't really feel like a DX at all. Now, the figure itself is beautiful, the paint apps are wonderful, and the shiny armor is back again. I also love this design for being comic accurate to the original red and yellow art style, just in a modern way. Now this figure doesn't actually come with many accessories. You get the figure, 2 pairs of hands, the nano gauntlet, and some blast effects, as well as an older Tony head with a beautiful hair sculpt. And finally, you get a mini rescue figure as well as the wings, I guess. And the base isn't too special, but it is different and is based on the final endgame battlegrounds. No, it's not as good as some from the past, but I see the effort here. And I think this is an interesting one, because the quality is amazing and the best it's ever been, but the accessories I feel are lacking. More expressions or hands could have taken this a long way. And don't get me wrong, this was probably gonna be the definitive Iron Man in my collection. I just love the suit and the colors and the classic nature to it. And I might be just a bit bitter because this is the last Nendoroid Iron Man that we'll ever see. This video, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional doing it, but to be honest, I was 8 years old when the first Iron Man movie came out, and I'm 21 now. And it's just been in my life forever. And now it's gone. It feels weird. I didn't cry in the movies like a lot of people, but I definitely now feel something. I think Iron Man is a character that everyone loves or even just likes a little bit, and it will definitely go down as a legendary character. So I hope you enjoyed this little overview of the Nendoroid history of Iron Man, and if you like this video, please be sure to give it a like, comment, or even a subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Stay tuned for more content, and with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace 3000.